And with me now is Kristina Butts, Executive Director of Legislative Affairs for the Washington, D.C. office of NCBA. Kristina, thanks for coming to the show.
Great, thanks. Thanks for having me.
For folks who haven't had a chance to meet you, tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
So I'm originally from Texas. I grew up in Pearland, Texas, very involved in my family's Black Angus operation. I went to school at Texas Tech University. My undergraduate degree is in agricultural communications with a minor in animal science. I was on the meats judging team at Texas Tech.
Yeah.
I was also a beef ambassador in high school. And then I also received my master's in animal and food science, working on ways to validate interventions for beef trim that was further processed into ground beef. So strong background in the cattle industry. Made my way to DC, been here 10 years, just about 6 years at NCBA, and I really enjoy trying to give back to the industry that gave so much to me in a different way of working on policy issues here in Washington.
Born, bred, and educated in the beef industry.
Yes, sir.
Well, tell us this, what's it like to work with Congress and with regulatory agencies representing the beef industry, and more importantly, how receptive are they to the messages you're bringing as a beef industry advocate?
You know, I think that it is really a great opportunity. A lot of the members of Congress, as well as their staff that we talk to on Capitol Hill, many of them don't come from an ag background, much less the cattle industry itself, but they're very intelligent and they're willing to learn. And I think once we take the opportunity to talk to them about the industry, educate them on the policy issues and what they are doing in Washington and voting on and how that impacts them on the ground, they really have a stronger appreciation for what our cattlemen and cattlewomen do every single day. And then also on the regulatory side, we spend a lot of time trying to educate them and helping them understand how these regulations will either have a positive or a detrimental impact on our cattle producers. So there's a lot of advocacy going on here in Washington. It's all about education and also just making sure that you're involved and you're here to share your story, because that really makes a huge difference in Washington.
Give our viewers a sense of some of the key issues that you're working on right now, Kristina.
Well, obviously the dietary guidelines have been a big focus for NCBA, and I've played a large role in that. We've also been working against a proposed rule from the EPA on waters of the United States. Trade remains a top priority for what we're working on here in Washington. And we've also been doing a lot of things on animal health and animal welfare issues. So talking about how we use different technologies and just helping to make sure that we have the best available science leading some of these policy discussions.
Give us an update on dietary guidelines, and more importantly, why is it so impactful to the beef industry?
Well, dietary guidelines really are the foundation of all nutrition policy. So a lot of people might be surprised to know that NCBA works on dietary guidelines every single year, not just the 5 years every time Congress has authorized USDA, so the Department of Agriculture, and the Department of Health and Human Service to look at the most relevant science every 5 years to see if it warrants any changes to the dietary guidelines. So when you start looking at nutrition policy, that's any type of school lunch or breakfast programs, military feeding programs, summer or senior feeding programs. So really those are the basis of all the decisions. So it's critical that USDA and HHS are utilizing the latest, most sound science on nutrition in order to dictate what those decisions are and eventually what those guidelines are for Americans in later 2015.
Kristina, thank you for everything you do. I can't think of a better advocate for our industry.
Thank you.
There's more from Washington, D.C., and this special live edition of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman still ahead. So stay with us. We'll be right back.